a really terrible development that I've been keeping my eye on the last couple of days. Michael Moore coming into the discourse after Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced the mask mandate is over and that the state would fully reopen. Let's put this tweet up there on the screen saying, "Texas, we hear you. You didn't want to be part of our electoral gate. Now you've removed your mask mandate and are allowing large crowds to gather. We hear you. COVID is a hoax, so you don't need our precious vaccine. We will send it to people who are saving lives by wearing masks." He's not the only person to do it. Keith Olbermann, another one, let's put this one up there on the screen, also said the exact same thing. Why are we wasting vaccinations on Texas if Texas has decided to join this side of the virus? Is this, Crystal, in any way different from whenever Trump and many others wanted to make sure that blue cities suffered during COVID, or made sure that they had lawlessness or didn't want to send troops in or whatever just because they were blue? No. The whole Democrat-run cities, all cities are Americans. All people in Texas are Americans, too. And this sort of tribalization, we have to call it out because this is popular amongst the MSNBC base. And people are like, yeah, screw Texas. It's so bad when the GOP does it to talk about people who live in blue cities and blue states. And it's equally terrible with this. Maybe even be worse because at least this one is mainstream accepted. Yeah. And I think that it's disgusting, really.
It pained me to see this tweet. It really did. Because, I like Michael. He's been like someone I really look up to. He's informed my politics a lot. I think he's got a lot to offer. And we've had him on this show before and enjoyed some of his commentary. But I despise this type of politics. I just really do. I mean, you're blaming individual people for the failures of leadership. And you're turning people against each other. You're making this into like a sectarian, not just a partisan, but like a sectarian tribal war. And that's a hideous place to be ultimately. I never, and this was one of the things that actually really caused me to reassess my sort of like partisan cheerleading of the Democratic Party is when I lived in Kentucky and I would send things out about what was going on. And there was a lot going on there, attacks on union rights, attacks on pensions, stripping health care, all this stuff going on. And I would get so many responses that were like, screw them because they get what they deserve.
Yes.
Okay, well, I never signed up to belong to a party that like picks and chooses who's worthy of a dignified life and who's not. Yeah. It's the antithesis of what the Democratic Party is supposed to be about. And so, I guess I'm less surprised when I see it from Republicans because it's not really the conception of their party. I mean, it is a party of the elites, and so I guess I don't expect any better from them. But it's the opposite of what the Democratic Party at its best has been about, this concept of solidarity, which should be at the core of everyone's politics. So that's why I find it so disturbing and ultimately really just disappointing.
No, it is. And this is, again, why you have to call it out, why you have to highlight it and more, is because, look, most people, it's not that they agree, but they'll tacitly let it go or they'll just stay silent. Look, I like Michael Moore, too. Honestly, he made me the really annoying kid who hated George W. Bush in school. I liked Fahrenheit 9/11. What can I say? Great movie. But somebody you have to be willing to call out, even those that you sometimes admire, who make insinuations like this. We hear you. You don't want this. So we're going to deny you this life-saving vaccine specifically because you're enacting policy that we don't like. Once again, this is exactly what they criticize Trump for and many Republicans for, saying we don't want to bail out your blue states and all this. That is just as partisan and tribal, withholding resources from your political enemies, government resources, and at the end of the day, who suffers? Actual citizens. And with the normalization of this type of rhetoric, obviously, of course, it's not like the Biden team or whatever is espousing it, but we cannot deny Keith Olbermann and Michael Moore have huge sway within the MSNBC people in particular, and you can't allow this stuff to get normalized amongst those people because if you start turning on each other, then what are you going to do when the other side is in power? Oh, wait, it already happened. And this is just a spiral, a death spiral to the bottom.
Yeah, not to mention, if you claim to care about this, large percentage of the Texas population is Hispanic.
Yes.
Significant black population. You're telling all these people to, go die, basically. I mean, it's really even there. What I want to say is there's nothing left or progressive about this type of view whatsoever. And just sort of troubling to see.
Really is. Okay, everybody. We're going to have more Rising for everybody right after this.